I'd rather be woke than tired any day. Thank you very much. I can't be the only one that's exhausted with the Republicans and the word woke and misusing this word. Once again, appropriating things from black culture, all up in the Kool-Aid and don't know the flavor, and is quite frankly embarrassing, not just as Americans watching this stupidity, but as the whole world is watching this stupidity. I don't really understand. I can't pinpoint the time and location as to when stupidity and ignorance became cool, but I am absolutely convinced that Joe Rogan is the reason why stupidity has become cool. The man has the curiosity of a 5-year-old, and that's not a compliment. And I just don't understand why we're letting bad comedians that act their shoe size and not their age being the thought leaders of our culture today. It's just, I don't understand what's going on anymore. Trump comes out talking about how slavery was a good thing. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. America, you cannot allow history to be erased. You cannot allow it to be rewritten. And I'm not like a conspiracy theorist kind of girl. It's not really my jam. I just feel like some people have real problems. But I really believe that the reason why they want to stop teaching cursive is that so no one can read the Constitution. And then they can get rid of any evidence of any kind and rewrite the whole thing. We are down a slippery slope. We really need to get our shit together, America. We really need to get our shit together. Anywho, the most American thing right now about me is my passport and my American accent, and probably the fact that I live in the United States. Hi, you just stumbled across a video in my series called The Accidental American. I'm an American citizen since birth. I spent the first 35 years of my life in Germany. My mother was stationed there by the U.S. military, so I grew up in a semi-American bubble, if you will, designed by the U.S. military. I was able to freely leave that bubble whenever I chose, because I lived off base after the age of 7. So I always had one foot in German culture and one foot in American culture, and I never really fully integrated into either one until my 20s and then in my 30s. This series is a documentation of, I guess, being in culture shock of my own culture and just unpacking the thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, concerns on my experience living in the United States for the first time. I was still attached to the U.S. military up until my 20s. I integrated getting a visa and being an immigrant in Germany, working and living and not really changing much about my life other than I didn't have military ID card and unable to go freely on and off base anymore. This series is really an explanation as to why I feel like an accidental American, as it is a bit of, for me, a strange world. Today, why I feel like an accidental American, history being rewritten and redesigned in the United States. As many of people know, Trump recently made note that the Smithsonian's display of slavery in the United States was shaming America and wasn't a positive, interpretation of such a horrendous time in history. And he wants to spin it like slavery was a good thing. We were all just having a good time, being inhumane and ruining lives, being vicious, cruel people. This is not okay. America, this cannot be the representation we show the world, that we're a bunch of idiots out here on Idiot Island. We are embarrassing ourselves, standing by, watching it, letting it happen. And it goes beyond the rewriting of history. What really chaps my cheeks, the vibe I am getting is this is an attack on Black people, and that is evident by the takeover of DC. It is evident by trying to erase the contributions that people of color have made. And my sound cut out, and the gerrymandering that's going on, such as in Texas, and basically changing up everything so that the vote of people of color doesn't count anymore. The tactics that Trump seems to be deploying are not only are mixed in our own horrific history, but it seems that we are taking note from atrocities of World War II, picking people up, looking for papers, going after people not because they've committed any real crime, just because of the color of their skin. I kind of sat back and realized that, like, the war on intellect, the war on books, the war on knowledge, the war on facts is, like, really hot and heavy here. And it's disturbing, to say the least. It's getting really tired, and it's also getting very scary at this point. As a kid growing up, this is not at all what I expected. I expected us to be so far past, like, racism, and maybe that was my stupid little white girl, you know, ignorance, but it was just like, I felt that in the 90s, seeing this, like, cross genre music and seeing, growing up, there was a ton of black shows that were phenomenal. Like the Cosby Show is the one that everybody knows, but like you had Moesha, you had the Parkers, you had the Bernie Mac Show, and a Different World, a spinoff from the Cosby, Living Single. Shoot, and let me tell you a little something. I grew up in Germany where the military only had one channel, AFN, the Armed Forces Network. And this one channel tried their best to bring a bit of diversity into the programming. And my brother and I would sneak out of our bedrooms in the middle of the night so that we could catch In Living Color. That was a black show, best comedy sketches, like, known to man. So for me growing up, I just saw, from I guess an immature, uneducated standpoint as a child, that like we were progressing. And then when Obama was elected, I thought, wow, you know, look how far this country has come and has done. This is a great step towards a better, not just country, but a better world, because America being able to elect a black man is twice, second time a landslide. Baffles me how we got to this point. It baffles me how people went from Bernie to Trump. It doesn't make sense, and it just shows you have no values, you have no morals, you don't stand for anything, you don't believe in anything, you're just there wherever the wind takes you, whatever groupthink is, whoever's hot at the moment. Like, I can't. The fact that to me, it is ridiculous that race is still an issue, not just globally, but especially in the United States. It is infuriating to me. And there isn't any excuse in 2025 for anyone to get grazed, to be like, oh, well, you were raised this way. No. There's too much information. There's too much that you have access to let you know that integration is the best thing that ever happened. Food is better, music is better, culture is better when it's all mixed up from a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything. We're all living better lives because of globalization, but we're also living horrible lives because of globalization. It's a double-edged sword in most things. Everything has nuance, everything has, you know, their pros and cons. And sometimes you just have to outweigh the lesser of two evils, which I foolishly thought that the United States would understand the lesser of two evils. I would never, it will just not happen for me to vote Republican unless like some complete switcheroo happens, because the things that they stand for, the things that are their values, I'm not aligned with that. And I'm definitely not aligned with misogyny, with racism, plain out just bigotry. Just can't do it anymore. I can't do this like double standard bullshit. It's like, oh, we're gonna cry at every little thing that you do, even though it's within the law, it's all legit, but Republicans play dirty, they lie, steal, cheat. The Democrats are not squeaky clean. The whole political system is just too filled with money, and people here for fame and for money and relevancy instead of providing a public service by being a public servant to the people that elected them, which blows my mind that some of these people have been there, have made themselves career politicians, which it should never be. It just shouldn't be. And the fact that this country wants to go back to a time that is just so hostile, so disgusting, so violent, and just ridiculous. It fills me with violence. It fills me with a violent passion that I cannot just be like, we're doing this in 2025. Racism, guys, really? We're doing this? Still? There are bigger fish to fry than the color of somebody's skin. But this moment in time right now is like real bleak, and I'm not interested in doing this. I don't want to do this where we're gonna be a country that oppresses people for the color of their skin. We haven't even made it out of the woods in that department, and now we're just about to like chuck all of the things we've worked so hard to accomplish to get to a place that is not fair, but far better than it ever was. And now we want to just throw all that goodness away so that we can live in hostility and oppression and control in a way that the Republicans have constantly argued against, that they want less control, less government control. What is this, my friend? Less government control? Are you kidding me? I mean, if you think military, like if you think putting the National Guard in states is not government control, or the very beginnings of it, my friend, American history has already been whitewashed enough. Let me tell you that when my brother came home and told me that Pocahontas was a 13-year-old girl, when John Smith was inappropriately 20-something or 30-something, I don't even know. He was much older. We were made to believe like, oh, this is a love story or whatever as children, and then like we learned that in school that she was like a real person, but the textbooks omit the fact that she was underage. You know, they just glide past that. And it isn't until much later that all of these, you know, you get some of these facts. America's already whitewashed. And forgive me to think that that might be the problem as to why we are in the situation that we are. Because sometimes you do need to be a little shamed. You do. Like, how do you do better if you don't know better? What I find really beautiful about German culture is that they have something called Erinnerungskultur. Germans have a word for remembrance culture. Erinnerungskultur. Accent is fleeting since leaving Germany. So pretty brave. I think it's pretty mature. I think it's pretty awesome that Germany as a country can admit that their past is pretty horrific. And sometimes shame is a little good, you know? It's a way of putting it in your face and remembering, be like, remember this, this sucked. Like, this is horrific. Look how people looked at us. Look what we did. It's not, I don't think it's the worst thing ever to confront as a country, as a culture, as an individual, to confront things that you've done that weren't so great. That was pretty fucking horrific. That ruined maybe people's lives. That maybe, I don't know, murdered unnecessarily. It feels incredibly sad. We're a culture now that's anti-expertise, anti-intellectual, anti-progression, anti-woman, anti-anything of color. This is not looking good. I don't feel the urgency in the fact that this country is becoming dumber by the minute. We are going to look like fools displaying untruths about how this country, about not even what happened in this country, but like what slavery is. This country was founded on genocide. This country has a history of doing this over and over again, and the results are not great. It's not a good time. This is not who we should want to be in 2025. It's absurd to me that we're in this position that we're in every day. It's a little mind-boggling that there's an assault on intellect, history, facts, knowledge. I mean, I grew up in a time of reading Rainbow where books were important, were touted in a positive light. We had Captain Planet, who taught us about how important the earth is and how we should care for it. We had all of Carmen Sandiego teaching us geography. We had Nick News keeping us informed, telling us to use our critical thinking skills. You know, ask the who, what, when, where, why. Why are we doing this? I don't understand. And then you want to call progressives, Democrats, liberals, whatever, like, you want to call us whiny babies and say that we want to force our way of life on you and all this garbage. It is such projecting, it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. You talk about freedom and you don't even know the definition of it. You don't understand all of the little things that are happening and how they're gonna add up to the fall of the United States. Like, by the end of this year, this country will look like nothing you recognize. I believe that. Unless we, the people who really believe that this is an atrocious direction to be going, unless we do something about it, I don't see how what he is destroying we're gonna be able to fix in time for it to count. It's gonna be too late. It's like gonna be like starting all over again. And a lot of the great people that would put in the work and the funds to do that kind of shit, they're leaving. People are leaving this country. The war on education, the war on history, the war on freedom of being whoever you want to be is now on, and people are packing their shit and going. So you're going to be left with nothing but a nation of idiots. And it's, why are you wanting to scare away educated people? It just blows my mind that you want a man who's dismantling and destroying the government, and not in a good way, in the most horrific way. It is hurting more than it is helping. The only people it's benefiting are rich, entitled people. Why does America want to sacrifice themselves for the 1%? I don't get it. I feel like all of this is just a backlash from Obama and the hostility of the audacity that a woman would run for presidency, not once, but twice. And if everybody just took a moment to stop to think that this man can only lose to a woman. But you'll elect almost a half-dead man, and then when everything you ever said horrible about that man and his deterioration, we're watching the same thing happen with Trump, and lips are sealed. This hypocrisy, this stupidity, this inability to use words correctly is getting very tired. And the Republicans running around making an absolute fool of themselves by harping on the word woke, like we're the idiots, like something's wrong with us. It is pure crazy town. It is pure crazy town. I can't. And I fear for what this country will look like years down the road when we're not educating the children of this country with real facts, with real knowledge, with real science. I don't know why people want to live like this. We need to look for new thought leaders. We need to push those thought leaders to the forefront. We need to get real serious about the fact that this country's intelligence is at stake. If you want to live in a place with doctors, lawyers, and people who know what they're doing, I would say we not dumb people down. And you think, oh, let them play in the Smithsonian, let them change a few facts around. No, this is a slippery slope. I grew up in Germany, and there is a real strong culture in remembering World War II, which was probably one of the worst atrocities to come out of Germany in recent history. You can still go and see concentration camps as they're a reminder that it did happen and this is horrific. Learn about it, understand why it's a horrific thing, know more about the world and the country and the culture that you live in, because history is important. It's vital. And if we're gonna have some debate about that, then we are so totally fucked. We haven't even got into the nitty-gritty in school the way that Germany has when they talk about the Holocaust. My husband went through German school. I did not. He said doesn't remember exactly when he started it. He knows it was around his teenage years, and it was like a theme throughout. I mean, in ethics class, in history, and whatever. Like it's always like touched upon in different subjects, not just history. We would want, as a culture, as human beings, to be better. With all of this news, I just want to read more books, inform myself. I just want to get smarter, because the fact that there's a war on intelligence is like changes the game. It changes the game. Like, I'm already an avid reader. I love a good documentary, but like this, even like I even just want to go deep diving into things that like I don't even care about, just because, or I'll be damned if you make me dumb. I refuse to back down on the war against intelligence and facts and science. I think if you ain't got that, you ain't got shit. We can't be hiding anything. We just look like fools telling people, yeah, like slavery, like I know it was horrific where you come from and everything, but like it was great for us. Like, come on. I can't be a part of this. I can't be a part of this. This idea that there's hatred for the word woke, for the simple fact that it means that you are well informed, socially righteous, and up to date on your racial injustices. I think it's a pity that education isn't more of a thing here. I really do, because the dismantling of the education department, I think is a real sign that they want poor kids out working and they want rich kids to be able to, take it all the way back. Where only, people with money could get educated and the rest of them can work. Taking all the immigrants out that do these kinds of jobs, and farmers are hurting as it is right now. They want to, make child labor a thing. So let's just take ourselves all the way back. Let's take women's rights away. Let's get children out here working and smoking on the job. Like, what do you do in a situation like this? You got to get on a reading campaign. So I leave you with this. Am I the sharpest tool in the shed? No, not at all. Open a fucking book. Keep intellect alive. And if you're looking for something interesting to read, I leave you with this. White Trash, the 400-year untold history of class in America. I will leave the details below. While it's thick, she a big one. It's a really good book. And it's fascinating. It's funny. It's atrocious. It's disheartening. It's sad. It's crazy. But it's real, and you can't deny it. It's history. So let's not give up on our country, give up on ourselves, give up on these children. Let's do something about it. Let's not let this man erase history, rewrite it, and take us back, because it wasn't good for nobody but mediocre white men. And all I'm seeing lately is a lot of mediocre white men. So we's in trouble. We need to do something.